Oh, what's up, YouTube? Stumbled upon a video. Dexter's dumbest decisions that made no sense. When did he make a dumb decision? I gotta know, because I watched the show and I don't remember him making a dumb decision.
Dexter Morgan was a genius when it came to hiding his double life. But when it came to decision-making, total disaster. For someone so methodical, you'd expect smart choices. And yet, he made some truly baffling calls. Today we're
Let me know. How many?
looking at Dexter's dumbest decisions ever. Not little mistakes. We're talking about the kind of moments that made you pause the show and ask, did he really just do that?
Okay. I can't recall any. Yeah, I can't recall any, so I gotta know.
These are the 7 times
what?
Dexter almost lost everything because he thought he was in control. Spoiler, he wasn't. Let's start with dumb decision 1. When Dexter finally had Arthur Mitchell cornered, he did something unthinkable. Instead of ending it right then and there, he saved him. Not out of compassion, not because of some last-minute moral crisis. Nope, because he wanted to kill him properly.
Like, yeah, that's stupid. Okay, that's dumb. Yeah. And it led to... Spoiler, if you haven't seen the show, skip past this part. I'm about to say something. If you haven't seen the show, then you're kind of late, but... Because then he kills Rita. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Oh. By the way, I'm assuming this whole part, this whole video is definitely a spoiler, by the way. If you haven't seen the show, so.
With plastic wrap, a clean table, tools perfectly arranged, and just the right lighting. You know, like a true perfectionist. But while Dexter was busy planning his Instagram-worthy ritual, Trinity was already planning something else entirely, Rita's murder. And let's be honest, Dexter knew who he was dealing with. Trinity wasn't some reckless amateur. He was a precise, cold sociopath who had been killing in cycles for decades, all while playing the role of loving husband and father. A walking red flag with a mortgage. That should have been reason enough to act fast. But Dexter's obsession with doing it right gave Trinity just enough time to go back to Miami and destroy everything. What makes this so tragic isn't just that Rita died, it's how symbolic the whole thing became. Trinity didn't just kill her, he left baby Harrison crying in a pool of blood, perfectly mirroring Dexter's own origin story.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how... Sorry. I don't know how she... how did he know exactly? I don't remember. How did he know... how did a Trinity killer know exactly how... what happened to Dexter? I don't remember Dexter talking about that to him, ever. Weird.
The message was brutal. You're not as in control as you think. In that moment, Dexter wasn't thinking like a father. He was thinking like a lab technician trying to follow a protocol. And that cold detachment, valuing ritual over reality, cost him the one thing he never thought he'd lose, his chance at a normal family. So here's the real question. Would you wait for the perfect moment to take out a monster like Trinity? Or would you pull the plug before everything you love ends up in pieces? Then we have dumb decision number 2. Trying to change might seem noble. But in Dexter's world, trying to be a better person usually meant someone ended up in a body bag. And when he decided to spare Oliver Saxon, arguably one of the most sadistic killers he ever faced, it wasn't growth. It was a full-on system failure. Instead of sticking to the code, Dexter suddenly had a moral epiphany and thought, you know what? Let's try due process. Spoiler, it did not go well. Saxon wasn't...
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get to this part of the show yet. So, I'm almost here. I'm on season 5, I think. But yeah, I don't remember. I don't know this part. And I don't know, is he a good guy? Is he a bad person? Or is he fine? I honestly don't know.
Wasn't some misunderstood criminal. This man was the definition of a walking red alert. Calculated, vengeful, already responsible for multiple murders, including ones that hit painfully close to home. He wasn't just dangerous, he was personal. Yet Dexter, out of nowhere, decided to play the role of reformed citizen. He handed him over to Deborah, as if that one gesture would somehow redeem everything. What he got in return? Deborah got shot, and while she didn't die instantly, That moment became the tipping point that eventually took her life. What's maddening here is that
She dies? Oh man, I didn't even know that.
Dexter knew better. His entire life philosophy revolved around stopping threats before they could strike again. But this time, he swapped instinct for image. He wanted to believe he was more than a killer, that he could live like a normal person. But in trying to be someone else, he lost the only person who ever tried to see the good in him. So here's the million-dollar question. Can someone like Dexter afford hesitation? Or was this proof that in his world, trying to be good is just another way to get people killed? Moving on to dumb decision 3. Of all the bad choices Dexter made, cheating on Rita is one of those moments where even the dark passenger probably facepalmed. Rita wasn't just his girlfriend, she was his anchor. She gave him a taste of something he never thought he could have. Stability, a home, maybe even a shot at redemption. Sure, she didn't know about the kill room in his heart, but she loved the version of Dexter that tried to be better. And what did he do with that rare, fragile gift? He traded it for Lila. Now, let's talk about Lila for a second. On paper,
Yeah, this was stupid. I don't know why he did that. But yeah, this was just stupid, bro. I don't know. Those other ones, okay, like that leads to like a big plot in the story or a big scenario. But this is just stupid, bro. This was honestly just so dumb to me.
she looked like someone who got Dexter. She wasn't scared of his coldness. She actually found it exciting. A red flag? Try a red parade. Lila didn't want Dexter to heal. She wanted him to unravel. She didn't admire the code. She wanted to rewrite it with gasoline and matches. Literally. To make things worse, Dexter wasn't exactly reserved that season. Emotionally unstable? Check. Impulsive decisions? Double check. Let's just say he wasn't skipping many extracurriculars. But what started as an escape quickly spiraled into chaos. Lila faked abuse, drove Rita away, threatened the kids, and then, in true Lila fashion, tried to set everyone on fire because she didn't get what she wanted. Dexter didn't just cheat on Rita, he cheated on the version of himself that wanted to be good. He burned down the life he was building for a moment of reckless validation. And the worst part? He didn't even realize what he had until it went up in smoke. Literally. So here's the question. Was Dexter chasing love, or was he chasing someone who made him feel justified in being the monster he was trying to leave behind?
Yeah, I don't care about all that. I just hated her character, not gonna lie.
Coming in at dumb decision 4, Dexter Morgan built his entire double life like a Swiss watch. Perfectly timed, no loose parts, and absolutely no room for mistakes. So when he left behind a single blood slide at the Travis Marshall crime scene, it wasn't just a slip, it was a full-on system crash. The kind of blunder that would get a rookie fired, let alone a seasoned serial killer with an obsessive need for control. One tiny glass slide, that's all it took to wake up Maria Laguerta's inner bloodhound. And this wasn't just any mistake, it was made by Dexter, the guy who
Yeah, I saw a clip of her saying that Dexter was the killer. I think that's why, because she refound the slide. From like all the way, not the same ones, I mean, but like, oh, we did it in season 2 and he put it on Dokes. She found them again. And Dokes is dead, so like,
alphabetized his victim's blood.
She would easily put 2 and 2 together.
The man who practically sterilized his kill rooms better than most hospitals. Yet somehow, now, at a time when he should have been more careful than ever, he got sloppy. Not in season 1, not when he was figuring things out. No, this was late-stage Dexter, overconfident, distracted, and way too convinced of his own invincibility. The moment Laguerta found that slide, everything changed. She wasn't just suspicious, she had a lead. And unlike most of Dexter's problems, she couldn't be wrapped in plastic and made to disappear overnight. She was smart, relentless, and, worst of all, right. The Bay Harbor butcher case was back on, and suddenly Dokes didn't look so guilty anymore. This wasn't a mess Dexter could clean with bleach and a late-night boat ride. It was a crack in the foundation that started an earthquake, the moment where all his carefully constructed lies started to collapse under their own weight. So here's the kicker. How does the most detail-obsessed man in Miami let one blood slide bring down his entire empire? Or better yet, was this the first time he became the real loose end? Then we have dumb decision number 5. For someone who built his life on
Please tell me. Oh, there's way more than 5.
silence and secrecy, Dexter, deciding to open up to Miguel Prado, felt like watching a vampire invite someone in without checking if they owned a stake. Miguel wasn't just a well-dressed district attorney.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I felt like he should have, like, killed him. He went against his ruling so many times, bro. You should have just killed him here. Even if it went against your rules or whatever, dude. Like, bro, you figured out who you are. Rule number 1, don't get caught. Or don't get caught. Should have killed him, bro. Should have killed him. Wouldn't have caused all that bullshit.
He was charismatic, confident, and full of righteous fury. To Dexter, that looked like alignment, shared values. Finally, someone who didn't flinch at the idea that some people simply deserve to die. So, Dexter let him in. Not just metaphorically, he handed Miguel the entire playbook, the code, the preparation, the ritual, the blood slides. It was like Dexter ran a murder workshop and Miguel was his star pupil. For a brief moment, it actually seemed to work. 2 vigilantes, cleansing Miami one scumbag at a time. But then came the twist. Miguel wasn't there to learn. He was there to hijack the system. And the first sign? He went completely off script and murdered Ellen Wolf, an innocent woman whose only crime was being good at her job. That's when it hit Dexter. He hadn't found a kindred spirit. He had created a Frankenstein with a law degree. What makes this all so frustrating is that the red flags were everywhere. Miguel was cocky, unpredictable, emotionally explosive, basically the exact type of person you don't hand your kill rituals to.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even like Miguel's character like that. I thought, like, he didn't even, like, fit. And, like, he didn't feel like he fit the type that you would think of as, like, killers or whatever. So, yeah, it just felt weird.
But Dexter ignored all of it because, deep down, he wanted someone to get him. He was tired of pretending, tired of lying, and in that emotional fog, he gave his secret to a man who saw it not as a responsibility, but as a weapon. So ask yourself, was this about trust, or was it about loneliness? Because in trying to connect, Dexter didn't just let his guard down. He gave a loaded gun to someone with no safety switch. Moving on to Dumb Decision 6. After faking his death, Dexter told himself he was doing the right thing. A clean break, a noble sacrifice. Harrison would grow up safe, away from knives, kill rooms, and emotionally unavailable dads with a body count. Sounds great on paper, until you realize he left his only son with Hannah McKay. You know, the other known murderer with a charming smile and a trail of corpses in her past. Let's be honest, Hannah wasn't exactly the poster child for stability. At the time, she was a fugitive on the run, actively avoiding law enforcement.
Who is this? I don't know her. I don't remember her being in a show. Alright, I guess I didn't get this far too. Okay.
And not exactly leading a Pinterest-worthy home life. And Dexter knew that. He didn't leave Harrison with a loving, capable guardian.
Harrison is like... I left off when he was a baby, bro. He's fucking like 5'6" there.
He passed him off to someone just as morally flexible as he was, because facing the challenges of fatherhood, that would have meant confronting everything he'd spent years avoiding. Accountability, vulnerability, and long-term emotional investment. This wasn't about love. It wasn't about giving Harrison a better future. It was about Dexter running from responsibility, from grief, and from the mess he'd made. Which is pretty ironic for someone who always claimed to kill to protect the innocent. Because when it came to Harrison, the actual innocent in his life, Dexter bailed. And the fallout? Predictable. In New Blood, Harrison isn't thriving. He's traumatized, violent, lost. He doesn't just carry Dexter's DNA, he carries his damage. The very darkness Dexter tried to cut out of his own life found a way to live on through his son. So here's the real question. Did Dexter actually think Hannah was the answer? Or did he just need one more person to clean up after his chaos, so he wouldn't have to face the father he never learned to be? And finally, Dumb Decision 7. Of all the choices Dexter Morgan made, this might be the one that broke everything beyond repair. Not because it was the bloodiest, not because it risked exposure, but because it cost him the last piece of his own humanity. When Maria Laguerta uncovered the truth that Dexter was the Bay Harbor butcher, she didn't come at him with rage. She came with a case file, cold facts, hard evidence. She acted not out of revenge, but out of duty. And in response, Dexter didn't stop her himself. He made Deborah choose. Let that sink in. He handed the moral grenade to the one
What?
person who still saw the good in him, pulled the pin, and stepped back. Either Lagerda dies, or Dexter goes to prison. And Deb, already emotionally wrecked from everything she'd been through, was forced to pull the trigger. But she didn't just kill her boss, she killed her compass. And from that moment on, she was lost. This wasn't just a bad call, it was colossally selfish. Dexter, who
Yeah.
always claimed to protect the people he loved.
No, that is crazy. That is crazy. I didn't get there. I did not get there in the show. That is crazy. That is fucking insane. Bro, bad call, Dexter. Like, what are we doing? That actually, like, kind of pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie. That was, like, so fucking stupid.
Loved, handed the psychological burden of murder to the one person he should have been protecting. And the cost was devastating. Deborah spiraled. Guilt, substance abuse, emotional collapse. She didn't just fall apart, she evaporated. Not because of circumstance, because of him. And here's the dark punchline. Deborah probably would have stood by Dexter until the very end. She was loyal, stubborn, and endlessly forgiving. But instead of trusting her with the truth, Dexter trusted her with the trigger. He didn't just destroy Lagerda, he broke the only person who ever tried to save him from himself. So now ask yourself, was this about survival? Or was it the final proof that anyone Dexter lets close is doomed to be collateral damage? Dexter's dumbest decisions weren't just tactical failures, they were emotional blind spots, moments where pride, control, or desperation overruled logic. He wanted to be more than a killer, but in trying to be human, he created chaos. Again and again. So now I'm asking you, what do you think was his dumbest decision? Which moment sealed his fate?
That last one, I'm assuming, because I'm assuming that's where the show ended, no? Yeah, it's probably that last one.